Hey, this is Jade with the Vancouver scene. I am here with Kevin from LiveAx. If you don't know, Kevin is an amazing promoter, entrepreneur, just all around good guy. Kevin, for those who don't know you, can you explain a little bit about what you do around Vancouver?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me on. LiveX Canada puts on around 150 to 200 shows a year. So we do shows at places like the Railway, the Blarney Stone, the Roxy, just to name a few. And then we do some other bigger corporate events and stuff like that. I also own part of the Live Agency. So that is strictly a corporate event company. So we do things with casinos and larger corporate companies.
That's fantastic. And, from someone who's been in the Vancouver scene for a long time, I've loved seeing the professionalism, the attitude that you guys take upon working with local bands. You guys are always nice, generous, and really help smaller bands kind of find their footing, and then even bigger bands kind of expand their fan base. So it's been amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate that. That's our goal, really, is to get people to that next level. And one of the things people always say is, "Oh, how come you don't sign the band? How come you don't hold on to them when they get big?" And it's like, no, our specialty is really helping bands that start out, and we want to get them to that, Commodore-sized shows, and then let them get on from there and do their things with a bigger company that would be more suitable for, maybe like international tours and stuff.
Exactly. So, how has LiveAx been surviving the whole COVID experience? I've noticed you guys have quieted down a little bit. Obviously, shows and venues have stopped. What have you guys been doing behind the scenes?
Yeah, so sadly, our income and revenue streams have gone down 100%. There is no income.
Yeah.
So it's not even like, oh, it's gone down 75%. No, it's gone down 100%. There is no events. So what we have been doing to stay busy, we're doing some online concerts, stuff like that. Most of these things are free, so sadly, even the artist doesn't get anything much. Well, they don't get anything, but what we have done recently is started doing some online events that do have a fee. So the bands are getting some money finally. We also got one of the Sound On grants, so there'll be sound techs, film crew, and then 3 acts that are all getting paid through the grant. So really, we're just a facilitator right now to pay musicians. Sadly, us as a company, we're still just not in the position to be making anything. I'm doing this so that when things come back, they remember LiveX Canada and you see the work that we did while it was slow.
Exactly. And that's the thing, staying, it's hard because, as you said, the revenues have like literally become zero. There's absolutely nothing. But it's really cool seeing that you guys are still working hard and shooting for the future, which a lot of people are just kind of stuck in the now. And the now is not always going to be now. It's going to be the future pretty soon.
Yeah, I think a lot of companies won't be coming back necessarily. I think a lot of people that were on the fence in the industry, and this is in the small part of the industry, are changing job types and they're actually probably not staying in the music industry. I've already seen it a couple with a few of my employees. Now they're staying in music, but they have moved on to different type of things that won't be necessarily in the live world.
Exactly, and it's a shame, but I mean, you have to do what you have to do to survive.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Now, as you said, in the beginning of all this, and everyone started leaping on live streaming and doing concerts from their bedrooms with their phones and things like that. What were your thoughts about artists trying to do it that way, and then what have live acts been starting to do for the live streaming?
Yeah, so sadly, I wasn't a big fan of the production of a lot of those things, and I think maybe it could have hurt the industry a little bit. So, just my opinion is that by having things recorded on phones and not maybe mixing and mastering the song, people get used to, okay, so is this a live stream? Basically, someone putting their iPhone and watching them almost practice. So I would see people do stuff and they would talk in between or they'd tune, and they didn't necessarily treat it like a real show. So I don't know if that was a good thing. I mean, it's up to people to do what they have to do. The only things that we'll be involved with is where there is some proper filming. the audio is mastered and mixed, so that it actually sounds good. The only real good streaming events I've seen are with super famous bands, and I mean, that's pretty easy and obvious. For a big band can easily do a good production because they have the money, and record labels probably helping them out with it. So yeah, so that's why we've come slow. I mean, I initially, when this came out, I thought, oh yeah, you know what, I'm going to try to do 10 streams a month and make up for the shows, and it's just not possible. The cost of recording is incredible. Filming is very expensive, so because you need a couple people and they're professionals, so you can't get friend deals, and honestly, being in the music industry doesn't mean that we have connection to the movie industry and filming, so there isn't some buddy system that works. So yeah, no, that's why we're slowly coming back, but with a better product.
And that's the thing, because it left bands, like especially rock and roll heavier bands, in a position of, you know, not being able to just take their songs with an acoustic guitar and sit in front of their phone, because a lot of them were geared towards, you know, having the live drums, having bigger sounds, and as you said, you know, I saw some live band streams that were so bad just because it's just their phone, and you're like, well, I don't even want to watch this, you know. Whereas it's just you said, some of the bigger bands, some of the big bands have put out some cool live streams, but even some of the mid-level bands around Vancouver have done it right, you know, gone in the studio, kind of done a live off the floor kind of thing, and it's been really cool seeing that too.
Yeah. The only scary thing is so you stream stuff and then it's free. Okay. So there's no value in it. And then maybe get a better product, and it takes quite a good product to then actually charge people. And the key to the industry is for musicians to make money is there has to be a product that's good enough to charge. And that's not, honestly, it's not the band's fault or anybody's fault. That's hard to get money right now during a time when people don't have money. Yeah. So it's a time when people don't have money, and then if the product is not amazing,
no one wants to pay for it.
You know, it's just so hard. Yeah, so it's a challenge trying to get the quality up so that you can actually charge $5 or $10 for a streaming concert. Whereas, you know, even some of these big bands, they're not charging anything for these stream concerts. I think they're obviously getting government assist or grants, a lot of them. So people don't know that behind the scenes, but that's how it's working.
Yeah, it was interesting seeing the list of bands that received grants from the Canadian government, and or even from like the American government giving out a lot of money to musicians, and they made a big deal about it. And then you look down the list, and it's literally like big top 40 artists,
big famous,
and you're like, oh, cool, this helps literally no one who doesn't have money.
No, it's scary. So yeah, no, we all just have to get through it, and hopefully things will change soon. I mean, I don't think it will, likely, but
well, as things are changing, you have the railway. You guys are doing some things there. What's the deal with those shows?
Yeah, so the shows at the railway are really mini COVID safe shows. So instead of having normal 140 plus people is the capacity, only 28 people are allowed to see the show. And they have to be seated, and they have to be in the bubble of those other people to be in the table that they're in. So there are so many rules. So you can't just buy a ticket. You have to buy a table. And then, like I say, that table has to be with people that you're in the same bubble with. That's the only way that you're allowed to do this. So technically there might actually be less than 28 people watching the shows, because if someone, say 2 people are in a bubble together and they buy a table, well, then there's 2 empty seats. Those seats cannot be filled. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's plexiglass at the front. It's only seated. You have to be served at your seat by the people at the bar. So it really is not like a concert. This is just to keep people active. There's so few people in the thing, so it's really. I've seen other people try to do live concerts, and I'm always surprised how many people they can get in the venue. I'm not sure how they're able to do it. We're following every single rule to the T, and the reality is 28 people. So when I see a smaller venue than what we're doing with a higher capacity, I just don't know how they do it. But
I think there's a lot of rule bending going around. I'm not going to name venues, but I've saw some venues outside of Vancouver starting doing these shows, and they're not following a lot of the precautions. And and that's why I wanted to focus on you guys, because you guys, I know, are always really good about taking the steps and making things done right. So I was really interested on hearing your approach on doing this, and I think it's perfect. Being in your bubble, that your bubble can come have a seat. So if you're bubbled with a few friends and you're like, oh man, let's go out for a good night, it's available. You can do that within your bubble.
Exactly. Yeah. There's no standing. The band's not going to stand and hang out with those people. Then once they're done the concert, sadly, that has to be done in a different place. The venue has excellent cleaning capabilities, and they clean. Things like the show has to be absolutely finished by 11 p.m. The staff have masks on. I mean, it's really like we went full on. That's the only reason we're only doing shows there right now is because they're the only ones that are really prepared. If you look at inside, all the bar stools are gone. Everything's gone. Everything's spaced out. It looks actually really nice.
Cool. It's a whole different experience.
So different. Yes, it's a different experience, and it's good we're doing it for the band. If COVID gets worse, we're going to cancel them all again. I mean, we're not scared to do that. There's no point, and we need this to be over sooner than later. So, yeah, I don't know how people are. I noticed out of province and in smaller towns, they're skirting the rules, and I think that the weird rule is you can have a restaurant. From what I know, you can have a restaurant as long as there's no live music. You can actually have quite a large capacity now.
Yes, and
have
that's
150
scary.
people in a large bar.
Yeah.
in a pub. What's the difference between having a pub and a concert where the concert has plexiglass at the front? I'm not sure where, hence the 28 people and doing it properly. How they can have 150 people in a dinner service. That's amazing. It's good for them, but I just don't know how that's appropriate per se.
Well, exactly. And even like on Commercial Drive, I noticed there was a venue in particular that started, opening back up again once, and having people in. But then all of a sudden they started having karaoke nights and open mic nights, and those got shut down very quickly just because sharing mics. So for an example, for our shows, everybody has to bring their own mics. Only the singer can sing. For an example. Nice.
So we have plexi, and only sadly we're saying no to backup singing. We just don't. That's just not something that makes sense to me, and that's the rule we implemented. It's not that's above and beyond rule. That isn't a rule that's a government rule, but we've decided we wanted to go with the government rules, then make it even harder.
Exactly.
It's just we don't want to hurt the industry. We don't want to hurt people. It's just not a time to mess around. Sadly, there's no income, so it is what it is.
Exactly. Well, I thank you for doing what you're doing for the scene, and I'm excited to see how these go, and then how the future goes, and hopefully, some news just came out today about COVID, so hopefully, we're looking towards the end game. But hats off to you guys for working so hard on what you do.
Well, and thank you too, and thank you for keeping people aware of stuff, and hopefully people will understand hopefully bands will understand when they take a show, really ask hard questions about this. It's just not worth your family or friends coming to an unsafe show. It's not worth playing an unsafe show. I do hear about shows that people are not making public, and again, they're skirting the rules with how many people, and how they do it is they just don't put an event page and they don't go public. So I think bands really need to ask questions for themselves, for their friends and family, and it's just, we all have to work on this together. If you believe in all this, or you don't, you just, we all need to stick together and just assume that everything is what it is, and we need to be safe. So that's the thing.
That's amazing, and I think that's some great words to live by. Thanks for joining me. This has been Kevin from Live Acts. Where can people go and find your social medias?
Yeah, everything is Live Acts Canada. So Instagram or Facebook /Live Acts Canada.
Perfect. Well, I hope some of our peeps go check it out, and I'm excited to see about the future. So have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and enjoy the rest of the sunny day, I hope.
Excellent. Thanks for the opportunity.
No problem. I'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Awesome. So that was a quick interview with Kevin from LiveAx. Super cool. Super excited to see how everything goes. Please go check them out on Facebook. Go support all the bands that they're supporting, as well as go check out all our other videos, as well as our Facebook and our new website. And we even have some merch. They're silly, it's fun, it's random, but if you want to get a fun shirt, go check it out on our store. We'll see you guys later. Bye!